Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. It's time for another coffee chat. All right, do that. Show the forearms. Ironically, do that again. had a couple of trolls message me yesterday saying, "Oh, you have really tiny forearms. You know, quit showing them." And which is hilarious because I objectively have big forearms. We live in opposite world, I guess. We live in opposite world. So, speaking of which, let's talk about what I want to chat with you guys about this morning. And this is something that really, this is always going to be one of the biggest topics in the fitness industry. I've called out tons of fitness news, but in the past, what does it always come down to? Fitness industry influencers scamming people. And really, what is the number one scam? The biggest scam that is just so widely accepted, and that's that supplements are actually particularly beneficial to your gains. Okay, they're just not. The data just doesn't support it. Oftentimes there's data supporting a mechanism that may translate into muscular strength growth, may translate into fat loss, but then when it's studied later, there's no significant benefit. But how many influencers push it? Look how hard pre-workouts have been pushed, and that's one that I pushed back against for a long time. There have been very few studies on pre-workouts because the ones that have been done have been found to be pretty much useless. Now, people say, what do you mean? I get a pump from it. I get motivated from it. And guess what? Whatever placebo benefit you're getting from that, if you look at the research, is being offset by something else that is hurting your gains. There's clearly something in the pre-workouts that hurts your gains through some other mechanism that is undoing the placebo. People say, what? That's not possible. Well, I do think there's a mechanism for it. I think it affects your sleep. I think it affects your stress levels. They make you more stressed later. Because otherwise studies would show a benefit. In other words, because you're getting such a strong placebo and a belief from it, that alone should make you gain muscle. If our research into placebos is correct, placebos automatically make you bigger and stronger, like for more training. Right? If you're convinced something is helping you get better workouts, like fake steroids have been used in studies, and the people given the fake steroids have just given a sugar pill, all gained more muscle and strength, all of them. So the pre-workout should be giving you a placebo. So then why then in studies do they not show any extra muscle or strength gain, even over like 8 or 10 weeks compared to the people not taking them? The only possible explanation is they are hurting your gains in some other way that in a strong enough manner to offset the placebo. Let that one sink in for a moment. That's not what I'm saying. It's what the data shows, because they show no benefit. They show no benefit. People will say this silly stuff. Well, I need them to train. Well, why are you so tired? Instead of buying a pre-workout, why don't you work on your sleep hygiene? Why don't you work on your stress management? Because clearly the pre-workout's not the answer. It's going to make it worse. But isn't that what influencers do? Okay, how many of these influencers are not that good at coaches? Terrible coaches. Or maybe they're really good coaches. Like I can tell you guys right now, if I personally sold pre-workouts and sleep aids, I would come up with workouts that are so hard that you can't recover from them. Then that's what I would put out. Why? So I can make more money selling my crap. Because then you're too tired to finish the workouts. Then you're too hyped up from the overtraining and the pre-workout to sleep properly, then you need my sleep aid. That's kind of how the supplement industry and influencers work, right? Most of these guys are on a lot of gear. Most of them are on a lot of gear. They don't need to worry about the same fatigue management as much as other people, because that will offset it. Right? That's assuming they even do their own workouts. I mean, that's something to think about with a lot of them. Do they even do their own workouts? Do they do the workouts they give to you guys? Do they give the workouts they claim they do? Do they document it? I had someone tell me once in defense of one of these people, but I've seen him do a couple of workouts online. Well, how many years has he been training? You tell me he's only worked out twice in his entire life? So when you tell me that you've seen an influencer put up 2 of their workouts, how in the hell did they get big and strong if they've only worked out twice in their entire life? Or are you going to admit that you don't actually know what they do outside of those 2 that they filmed? I document mine year round. Just know what I do. So, you come back over to that point. They create problems to sell you the solutions. I mean, it's a beautiful from a marketing perspective, it's beautiful. Ethically, not so much. Not so much. But if you're trying to make money, yeah, it makes sense. Sell people the problem, create the problem, and then sell people the solution. Even if the solution doesn't work, you just need them to believe it does. And that's kind of how the supplement industry works. The evidence is that by and large, very, very few things that you're taking are going to help your muscle gains or going to help your strength gains in any sort of long-term manner. They're just not. But these people, these influencers are up here being propped up by these companies, and they're trying to convince you that it'll work. Fix your dad bod. Well, I mean, they're selling 5 supplement stacks sometimes. I see the stuff in my feed all the time. We have this one for pump, this one for veins, this one for motivate your work. It's like, why don't you guys try eating some carbohydrates? If you need a pump, eat some carbs every now and then. Do you want to feel the burn? Well, why don't you perform your exercises correctly through a long range of motion and maybe take the sets really close to failure? Okay. Well, do you need a supplement to do those things? I don't think that you do. Again, we come back over to the data. The data is not very kind to these things when it's independent data. Not sponsored by the companies that are selling the product, but when it's independent data on these things, like when Craze was studied as a pre-workout, one of the most hardcore pre-workouts of all time. If I recall, it's been pulled because it had illegal stuff in it. Still didn't produce a benefit. It didn't work. Not in the lab. Not in getting people gains. Over that 10 weeks, the people who were given it didn't make any additional progress over the people not given it. When they were on good programming and good nutrition by good coaches. They had the strength and conditioning coaches from the school write their programs. Everyone made good gains. Lo and behold. In other words, maybe that's the point. Good coaching can completely replace all supplements. Maybe instead of spending your money on supplements, go hire a good coach and quit following these goofy ass influencers. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys next time.